Good morning. My name is Blessing and I'm today's host for Relax Radio. I know that a lot of us wanted to be able to grow up and be famous. Celebrities are just some big people, and they happen to live significant lives just through their talents alone. And I also personally would like to be able to be famous. We all like to be famous, but I want to be able to talk more about the corruption of fame and how a lot of us are not able to live out those dreams and those expectations to be able to even come to the point where we can be considered famous. And I want to be able to bring my guest, Andrea, to be able to speak more about this topic. Andrea, you may join. Hi, Andrea.
Hi.
You doing okay?
Yeah, how are you? I'm good, thanks.
I'm doing perfectly fine, thank you. I want to ask you, have you ever wanted to be famous?
Sorry?
Have you ever wanted to be famous?
I don't know. I'm not sure because I think that that's too much stress for someone to have like a to be a public person. It involves so many things about that.
Do you
What
think
about
people?
you?
I think being famous is way too much work, like you said. So I agree with you. But do you think it's something that a lot of people want to be able to do?
Um, I think that in the first 21st first century, people want to be famous because that gives you more money, makes you grow up. And right now, people just want to like have money but working at home.
Yeah, I understand. But at the end of the day, it's just like a lot of people end up becoming corrupted, and with their corruption, it can do a lot of damage to those who look up to them. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree with you, to be honest.
End of the day, fame and becoming a celebrity, talents, is all of those little things that build up to be considered a celebrity. Yeah, but it's more or less about the notice and support by others. Do you think talent? Do you think we all have talent in that same specific way?
Yeah, I think that everyone has a talent, but so many people doesn't recognize that because some like I know so many person that say I don't have a talent. I don't think I have a talent, but the thing is that your talent is something that you good very good, but you don't notice because it's normal for you. Like if you are good at writing, or I don't know, doing sports, you sometimes say, "Oh no, I think that is not a talent because it's something normally for me." But you don't realize that another people can do like as good as you do.
Yeah, I understand. It's interesting to understand that a lot of people go unrecognized for their work. Like we know that a lot of people, a lot of celebrities, singers, for example, like Nicki Minaj and maybe Cardi B as well. They produce and perform their songs, but a lot of the times the songs do come from a songwriter, so it isn't original in comparison to like Stormzy, for example. So I feel like, in my opinion, a lot of talent is being hidden away, unrecognized by other people. But what's your thoughts about this?
Oh yeah, I understand that, and yeah, I think the same because the thing is that uh, by these artists, they are following another person that is helping us. Like the writer, the production, the stylish, and all of these things. And I think the artist just reflects all of this work in one person. So I don't think it's like fair for everyone, but at the same time, there are so many people that are shy to do that or they are timid to increase in that way.
I understand. Do you think it influences the young children of tomorrow?
I don't know. What do you think about that? I'm
Well,
I'm not sure.
I feel like maybe because the young children of tomorrow, they look up to most of these stars and celebrities, and most of the time they will be like, "I want to be this person. I want to be this hero to them." If that makes sense. So, um, in a way, I guess I'm kind of worried for the children of tomorrow. Maybe they could also be corrupted in that mindset, but at the same time, it can affect them mentally because they're probably thinking at a very young age, "Why am I not talented? Why am I not special?" But
Yeah,
I can.
yeah, at the same time they just realize to look like same as that person and have that life, but they sometimes they don't know that there is too much work to grow up in that way, or to have these abilities that is not you can learn that in 1 year. You need to have a lot of years to practice that or learning that stuff.
I agree with you. Like for example, voice actors, they don't just become voice actors for certain shows straight away. They go through a lot of practices, training, and that's the thing as well. Most careers, like the example I just gave you for voice acting, you have to start off with, well, majority of the time, most people start off with going to some type of professional, some type of training to be able to better their skills. And with those type of training, it costs. It's like a lot of money that you have to use. So it's the idea of you can potentially have a career for your talent, but it's the money that can also, rob you from those opportunities, if that makes sense. But for children as well, I feel like maybe in terms of how they grow up, they should be exposed to much more other careers than, singers, fame, celebrities, and all this type of people. But what do you think?
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. I think the same. And I don't know, I think that every year is more harder to become famous because that means um, to be involved in so many things. And sometimes people don't see, like they think that it's easy, but sometimes it's really hard to grow up. And in another way, I think that these days there are more facilities to do different things if you want to be bigger. You know, like sometimes um, some years ago it was really hard to be a writer because you need to find different people who wants to publish your books and all of the things. And now you can use Wattpad, iBooks. You can start writing by yourself, and that's something good. But at the same time, um, I don't know. I think that it's really hard to discuss all of the things.
And I agree with you 100%. Now, I guess in a way, while we're talking about children as well, and how they're not being exposed to as many job careers out there, and they're seeing just certain careers like celebrities, for example. Where do you think the root of corruption starts from or comes from for most big people in terms of celebrity fame?
I think about the companies because companies right now like are very huge and have a huge impact in people like Apple, Samsung, technology brands, and they used artists to increase their popularity, you know, because now you can see that like last year I think that Selena Gomez filmed her video with an iPhone, and people acted surprised, and that gives to the Apple company more influence, and as well to the singer.
Yeah, I agree with you. Corruption as well. It can I don't know. In a way, it kind of falls under different circumstances. Because some children, they can be born into a family, and they can be trained by that family personally to be able to also become a star. So that can also be a corruption of a root of corruption, maybe. But again, it really depends on the individual, it doesn't it? So I guess in a way, we really need to be able to open to those young children to be able to understand that it's not the end of the world. We need to be careful because there's a lot of things that are hidden behind the scenes that we will never be able to know. Like for
Yeah,
example, let's talk about Justin Bieber. We know that his career is still ongoing, but with a lot of stuff that he's done over his life, he's lost a lot of fans. He he wasn't really the best of people, and he's been through a lot, but there are other celebrities that are able to rise up from the top. For example, Jessie Nelson from Little Mix, which is very unfortunate that she had to drop out because of the hate that a lot of people bring. But this, I feel like all of the things that go on, it does affect some people with mental state. It's not just the young children or young children tomorrow, as well as the famous people as well. But what do you think?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I completely agree with you, and I think the same. Because right now, I think that the artist doesn't have all of the control about them. I think that companies, people, the fans, all of that controls that person and like their own style, and they're trying to change to become more famous.
I agree with you. Um, one more thing I would like to say as well. Um, in terms of, like I said, careers and young children, again, I'm so sorry, but do you think, because like I said, a lot of people have talent. Some of them just don't go recognized, or a lot of children don't realize it until a certain age. But do you think school is the only way to be able to have a future, have a career?
Um, to be honest, right now, I think that there are so many um another options to be to have a career. Like so many people don't go to college; they decided to do some apprenticeships or some practices, and they become. It's like they find their own way to become the thing that they want to be. And sometimes I think that it really depends about what your career you want to be. Like what do you want to choose? Because sometimes if you want to be a singer, you need to be more productive and think about music. And sometimes the college doesn't bring all of this stuff. They brings you like another subject like maths or things that are not really related with what you want to be.
True, but don't you think it restricts them, like restricts their opportunities in the future?
Yeah. So and sometimes yeah, because you at the same time you are thinking a lot because you need to think about okay, if you are gonna leave the college or your studies in the future, how are you gonna go back if you don't find the job that you want to? Like you need to
Yeah.
have another option behind that.
Yep. At the same time, careers as well. Um, Education is the main foundation to be able to find a good career for a lot of us. But then there are a lot of us that tend to surpass the idea that education is not needed because school is not for everyone. I know that school brings a lot of difficulties to some people and individuals in general, like with their mental health and with just in general. Because I don't know, especially with the COVID-19 situation and us being at home, it brings a lot more stress to others and youngers in general. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, in this lockdown, some people decided to be more productive and they decided to take some classes online, like a part of their college or university. And I did that as well. I decided to take one class from a website from different universities. And that was a bit hard because that was another level, it's at university level and I was in college. So if you want I think that if you want to grow up you need to look about because and if you want to grow up in anything you need to have a knowledge and education about that, so in some way you need to be prepared and know more about that. So sometimes people just take courses but that really gives you too much knowledge to be prepared.
I agree with you 100%. Um, like I said, especially with the COVID-19 thing, like how you said about it earlier, online classes are quite difficult. And you just mentioned something that's actually pretty interesting, and I just came up with right now. University. University to a lot of people can either be beneficial or be a scam to them, depending on what you hope to do for your future career and what what you require to be able to do certain jobs. But do you think, especially with this time now, with us being at home and using online classes, do you now 100% think that universities are now becoming more of a scam? Like, do you think
Mm,
maybe the money that they're taking from students should be much more lowered, or, you know?
Yeah, I some in a way I think that if you are not going to university, you don't have all of these facilities. Like they give you some stuff, computers, the software, some so many things like Adobe if you want to study because Adobe is like 60 pounds per month, and that's a lot. So I think that if you're not gonna go to university because of lockdown, I think that university needs to lower the prices because so many students is not working, their parents is not working as well, and there is. they still having this some struggles about that, and they need to, they I think that the university is like really controversial because it involves so many things in both ways, like the students and the teachers or the directors. And I think it's really hard to find that. I have so many friends that told me like I'm paying a lot for university. I'm not going. I think that I can save that money a bit to my rent and all of this because that really affects a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine that's really difficult as well because university, that's when you finally open up your decision upon your future career and whether you should take it much more serious or not. Like as a sixth form student, I find just 2 years of studying A levels just as difficult. So I can't honestly imagine studying one subject for the course of 4 years. I can tell it's very difficult. And I know a lot of people tend to choose to stay in like these little dorm rooms or like a little some type of
Yeah.
yeah, I mean dorms. So and especially with people being able to reserve their money or save it and be able to spend it on the correct equipment. I know a lot of people end up suffering in the aftermath with their mental health and being able to actually have a good diet. So universities can actually help and also hurt a lot of students in terms of like their physique, their body, their mental health, diet as well. But at the end of the day, they end up getting somewhere. So do you think university is worth it?
I think that depends on what you're looking for. Like, if you want to be, like I said, a singer, I think that you need to start looking for another options because university gonna bring you so much knowledge. But I think that sometimes there are careers that needs more practicing stuff than knowledge. Like, you need to both, but sometimes you need to have more practice to know more about that. And in another way, like engineering or medicine, all of this stuff needs to more knowledge. So it really depends a lot of what you're choosing about what you want to be.
I agree with you 100%, definitely. Um, One more thing as well, like university, you're right, it does bring a lot of general information that is very beneficial and you won't just get as simply if you were to, just go through ordinary training at a specific job. But at the same time, like I said earlier on, in terms of universities potentially being a scam, um, you can go to university, you can end up studying your course and end up using your whole entire 4 years. A lot of people tend to they end up getting their bachelor's degree and then they do nothing with it. And a lot of people, when they end up completing that course in hopes to get a job in that specific career, they don't get that job. Like for example, Jaden Animations. I don't know if you heard about her. She studied animation for the past 4 years, and when it was her time to be able to apply for some type of job based on animations, she was declined practically everywhere. So, in the end of the day, she ends up going to university because she believes it's beneficial, but in the end of the day, she didn't end up getting a job and she had to go ahead and work for herself in terms of her YouTube channel to be able to build herself a career. So now, what's your views about universities hearing that a lot of them don't end up helping you like you think?
Yeah, I think that sometimes university just bring you like two options or three options, like in terms of career, like you just have three options to work in something. But I think that if you are looking for, depends on what you're looking for. I think that really is a huge thing because if you are looking like something related with media, you need to know so many different things like recording, the cameras, the lighting, and all of this, and you can learn that by yourself or just practicing that. But if you want to know about another stuff that it's more theoretical, I think that university can bring you a lot of knowledge. Um, I'm not sure, to be honest, if I go to university because I think that that's a lot of money and a lot of time to spend. But I think that really, as I said, depends a lot of what you're thinking you want to do in the future.
I agree with you 100% as well. A lot of jobs and careers is unfortunate, but you do need to receive a certain education to actually get there. And the idea of you going through the education and they're not taking you in regardless is just a very hurtful process. Because can you imagine 4 years of your life just being wasted on studying and you never end up getting the career of your choice? It's very saddening. It just hurts a lot, in my opinion. Um, as well for university students as well for the beginning, the first year, I know a lot of them tend to maybe feel much more happy because they like the idea that they're now free, they're away from their parents, they're able to do a lot of work, and they have a lot of money to go ahead and enjoy themselves. But where do you think the point of the root of the changing in mental health begins?
I think that the mental health in university is really important. I think that it's like to get another subject to learn because it's too much pressure. It's not like school or college where you have more freedom, you have less hours, and you have less things to study. Because university, I think, it's something more professional, and you need to think a lot about that. But um, also, I was thinking about what you say about to like when you're applying for a job, you need to have the qualifications, and sometimes they don't think a lot about that person, the younger person, because they're looking like 5 years of experience, and that's a lot for someone that is new. Like they just finished the university on some studies, and they just don't know how to work like properly in that way.
I agree with you 100%. Thank you so much for your opinion, to be honest. And I honestly have so much more to ask you based on this, but I think it's a good time for us to take a break.
Radio.
Welcome back, Andrea. I hope that you're doing fine.
Hey, welcome back. Yeah, I hope you are good too. I'm fine.
Great. I'm so sorry for everything, but now I'm really more curious with the discussion we're having because I feel like it was getting even more interesting. We last left off with mental health for university students and the potential root and cause. Now I want to be able to get a better feel and idea as to why, where, and how can we overcome or potentially overcome the ideas of mental health universities and how most of them can be able to identify them as quickly as possible to avoid any potential mishaps.
Yeah, well, I had some friends that they are in university, and they told me like I'm not talking with anyone. I need to do so much stuff. I don't go out. Also, my friends are there just in party. But I think that if you want to grow up in something, you need to sacrifice some things. But I think that that really affects you a lot in the future because you are not having the experience that you wanted to have like before.
I agree. I know that both of us don't go to university, but I want to ask you, do you think media portrays or misportrays the idea of a university life? Because I know that a lot, like if you look on official university websites, I don't know, for example, maybe Oxford, you end up seeing a lot of students just carrying books, the general nice idea of what a simple, nice, peaceful university is supposed to be looking like. But then a lot of people who do vlogs that are at the appropriate age to be able to go to university, they show another side of university life as well. So do you think media is portraying the ideal life as accurately or realistic, or do you disagree?
I think that the media stuff sometimes shows what people want to see. Like, because sometimes when I'm doing some project with my colleagues, they told me like I need to you recording this, and sometimes I'm thinking like, uh, I think it's not like how people think that it is. They just trying to change a little bit things, but in sometimes they trying as well to reflect what's happening or what people want to see as well. Um, I think that it really depends on what you are looking for. I don't know if do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. I understand.
What do you think about this? Because I think that it's really confusing for some people when they watch it. They have another ideas about this.
They do. I agree with you because, in a way, a lot of universities obviously they need to be able to be deemed appealing so they can grab the attention of potential students that can actually end up benefiting the reputation of that university. And by that, the university is now gaining money, students, and a chance of being able to not live, but be able to stand strong for many more years to come, if that makes more sense. So I can understand why a lot of media can portray university like that. But at the same time, don't you feel like now it's just bringing us false hope?
Oh yeah, yeah. Wow. Yeah, I think same like you. Um, I think that it's really important to know more about all this stuff involved into start into universities as well as mental health, the training, the time, experience, and the money because university is a lot of time and a lot of money to be honest. And I think it's for some people it's really hard to pay that. It's and more for international person that comes here.
I absolutely agree with you, and it's really tough as well. But now I want to kind of mention something you said earlier before the break, which I really found was pretty interesting. You said something earlier on about how you can go to university, study your course for 4 years or more, and then when it's time for you to apply for that potential career, that your future career that you always dreamed of, you have to reach a certain requirement to work, like have experience for 5 years or more, for example, to be able to work in that job sector. And I guess in a way it's realistic, I guess, because a lot of people want to be able to make sure that this person is experienced. So when it comes to training wouldn't be too long. But now it's like, what was the reason for me to do all of these studies to know that I have to now gain experience when no one's giving me the opportunity to gain experience? And so I mean, so what do you think?
I think that as well, they if they are contracting someone, they need to know that person. They need to know that they just finished the university, and I think that it's really important to bring young people opportunities because it's new minds, fresh minds. You know, they know so many things that maybe a person that has 10 years experience doesn't know. Like they have so much things to bring, and as well I think that it's really important to update about new stuff related with what you want to be. But at the same time, I need that it's fair to that you want to make sure that someone you is working for you needs to have some knowledge about that, like some experience. Um, I think that you can bring someone like a opportunity, and then you can see if it's a correct person for you, and what do you think about that person.
I agree as well. But it's annoying as well because the idea of you finally being able to get that job, or you finally being able to find a job that will be appropriate to you, you need experience. And like I said earlier, you won't be able to have this experience if no one gives you the opportunity. So, like, I know a lot of people say that finding a job is easy, but to be realistic, is pretty difficult, especially for students that go to school. You need to find a way to get a part time, find reasonable hours so you can be able to study at home and be able to work. And a lot of them demand for experience, which is difficult because you're not giving us any experience or
Yeah,
opportunities. So it's annoying.
yes. And sometimes that young student wants to a job that is relating with what they study, you know.
Exactly, yeah.
Because some works that you can work while you are a student, like part time, they are just work that doesn't go like in the is not related with what you're looking for, like cleaning or cooking. I think companies needs to looking for like some basic stuff for students, but at the same time that really can help them and can help the company. It's really important to. I don't know. I think that they need to think about all of that person. And at the same time, if you training that person correctly, they are gonna grow up you in another way, like in a good way, because you are no that person's working for us since they are younger. They bring us so many things, and I think it's really important that.
100%. But it's end of the day, I guess in a way, I believe that a lot of people should just, give a chance because you don't know these people can bring a lot to the table, like you said. Because you can see a lot of job websites or vacancy websites that be like maybe you need to reach these certain GCSEs to be able to work in this job. But then no, later on it'd be like you need to reach these certain A levels to do this job. And then that's when you go to the university thing, and then you end up reaching that bachelor's degree, and they end up saying no, you don't have enough on your plate. You need to have experience, and you see, you can bring so much more to the table in terms of your education and what you have, like the general knowledge you have. But with the lack of experience, it's difficult. And to be able to gain experience, you need to work in a specific field, and to work in a specific field is just like you need to be able to find that specific job that can help you. You see what I mean? It's going in a cycle, and it's
Yeah, it's like all your life you need to study and have certifications and masters. And for some people, that really affects a lot in terms of their life because they are spending too much time like in education a lot, and they forget about their life. You know, like going out, being in a relationship, they have different experience, traveling, because all the time they're thinking like, okay, after university I need to have this, or after this I need to study this, or if I want to apply this job, I need to have these new skills that I didn't have, and it's hard for people as well.
It is, it really is. Because can you imagine the idea that a lot of students, or more or less in the UK, a lot of children start their education as young as the age of 3. They go into school at age of 3, and they can choose to stay there until the age of 16 when they're done with their GCSEs. But most of the time, a lot of people start from age of 3 and they go all the way to university, which ends around the age of 22, maybe. So the idea of it, you're in school for approximately let's just say around 19 years. So
Wow.
practically 19 years of your life is going into education. So then after education, your main goal in life right now, at that point, sorry, is to be able to make money so you can survive. And that's when the rest of your life is going to be based on work and work alone. It's just the idea of it is just very sad. It's
Yeah,
annoying.
it's like a cycle because you need to just do all the same stuff just to have money to survive, as you said. Like, and that's the reason that I saw in this last year so many people starting doing their own brands, their own companies to themselves, because at the same time, I think that internet really helps you a lot with that.
100%, I agree with you because e-commerce as well is it's becoming much more of a bigger belief. But obviously, this topic I know I'm going to be talking a lot about this one because I'm really enjoying it, and I can tell you're enjoying it as well. I think it's the perfect time for us to take a break, Andrea.
Sure.
Radio. Radio.
Oh, relax radio.
Welcome back, Andrea. I hope you're doing fine now.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. Let's continue where we last left off because I honestly the topic that you just brought up was really interesting in my opinion. The idea of a lot of businesses and brands being open, like obviously through the internet because of e-commerce and promotions and just little nice business terms that we have to use sometimes. I guess the idea of it, like I said earlier on, finding a job apparently is considered easy, but it really depends on the amount of experience and whether some people want to consider hiring you or not. But now just thinking about it as well, the internet is a really big place. I don't even know if you consider that as like a social platform, but it's a large, massive platform. And the idea of opening a business as well, you're benefiting yourself because you're making something out of the talents that you have. Like that's when we bring talent back in from our very first discussion earlier. A lot of us have something hidden within us, but we not able to identify it because at a young age you're not able to know. A lot of us maybe, some of us maybe, but over time you end up discovering something that you end up like and you're able to be passionate about. And from that, a lot of people tend to build a career out of. So I guess this is like the beginning, like the foundation for a lot of people who are like celebrities because probably what their passion was probably to be in front of a camera or they enjoy singing. This is where we bring in the term like talent, and that's where careers come from, is what you're able to bring on the table from what you have. So what do you think?
Wow, I think that right now it's more easy to find to grow now your own brand than find a job with 5 years experience, because you want to make sure that you who knows who is doing that, like yourself. You know how much money you are investing. You know how much you want to do something. I think, and I have a friend that she decided to start her own business, and she's same as age as me, like 17. So I think that And internet really helps you a lot, like Instagram pages. You can just decided to do that in 1 month. She's just thinking about that like 1 month, and now she's looking for the website and all of the things, and that really helps you a lot. I think the internet is a good source if you want to start your own things.
That's actually, it's really incredible to think about it. Like it's really good because the idea of us entering this generation where we're now having access to certain, not even certain, but a lot of new technological advancements, gadgets, and just general like sources, internet sources. It's incredible, to be honest. The idea of like I said earlier, that we ourselves as individuals, we can make ourselves money if we're able to. If, and what I mean by able to, we need to be able to look deep within us to be able to figure out what we like and what we can make. Because through through what we have, through our own passion and ambition, we can actually create a career that can actually benefit us in the future. Like college and university, they can support you in terms of supplying you general knowledge, but at the end of the day, it's like it's what you can be able to bring on the table. Like if you want to be able to, if you like doing art, a business for based on arts and crafts that a lot of people can like can actually benefit you. So honestly, I'm really happy that I was able to talk about e-commerce and just all this stuff as well. We're talking about talent and fame, corruption, all of this. I really enjoyed talking about this, Andrea. Thank you. So, do you have anything you want to say about like the sum of it?
I just want to say that if you want to do something, you need to look. You don't have only one option. You have so many options, and you just need to find that. I know it's hard, but in some way it can be more beneficial for you than just choose the first option that appeals to you.
I agree with you
Yeah,
because
I really like it to have this conversation, and I really enjoy it because at the same time I see that we have different opinions about that, and it's really nice to know more about all of this stuff that is happening for some young people as you and me.
I agree 100%. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. The idea of that we've entered a new day and age where we can now do a lot of things. Earlier on, many years ago, it used to be a problem with sexism and race, but now it's obviously over time we've become stronger as people, able to unite, and now we've given ourselves so many new opportunities that we wasn't able to do over a decade ago, over a century ago.
Yeah, and
So
you just need a computer to start your own things. Like, so yeah, okay, yeah, you need some budget, but like £100 or like that, but you can earn that. But you just need a computer to manage all of this stuff. It's really amazing.
Because imagine you can start a whole business. You can pretty much run Apple on your laptop. I'm not even joking. It's interesting. But now, well, do you have anything you want to say to the audience?
Just think about your future, how you want to work on that. Like, because you are doing what you want to do. No one is forcing you to do something. Like if you don't want to go university, just find another way that you can do that in the best way for you and more beneficial for you.
I agree with you. And like Andrea, like what you said, it's true. We have now come to a point where we can have a lot of opportunities. We have a lot more open doors. And so what I'd like to say to the viewers is be passionate about something. Obviously, passion doesn't just come overnight. A lot of people aren't ambitious or motivational from time to time, and I understand where they're coming from because it's not easy. You're given so much, and it's so much on your plate. You need to be able to recognize which one suits you most. So I feel like try your best to be able to find something within yourself to be able to benefit your future as well. It can be something as simple as roller skating, like what we talked about last week. Roller skating, if you're passionate about it, you can make a career out of it. So to the viewers, I would say keep looking deep and try to be able to understand that there's many more and many other opportunities and options out there that you can follow to be able to make a future for yourself.
Yeah, completely agree. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this
Thank you,
conversation.
Andrea. Thank you. Now we'll be able to end our show. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.